And boom, we're live.
Sure about that?
Indeed, sir.
We are.
Indeed, sir.
What's cracking? What's cracking?
What's cracking, man? Let's jump into it, dude.
Yeah, Wong. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Hell yes, dear listener. The HSP boys are back in the saddle once again for episode number 104. Thank you so much for saddling up with us. 2 separate continents, 2 separate countries, 2 separate adult beverages just to make it fair, and 2 separate cups of coffee fee. 2 separate fact shamings, 2 separate mansplainings, 2 separate trails to the same inevitable conclusion. 104, dear listener. 104 is like 10-4, as in 10-4, good buddy. Haydn composed 104 symphonies, 104 keys on a Microsoft keyboard, but none of this really matters right now, dear listener. And why is that? Because the trail grows longer each and every single week, and 104 means we've got 104 miles to ride on this trail right here, right now. So let's not tarry. Let's saddle up and ride into episode number 104, which is in the house presently. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at Zero Gravity Med. Send us feedback at zero-gravity-media.com. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Podbean, and TuneIn, all 5 under Zero Gravity Media. Find us on YouTube right here. Look for Zero Gravity Media and our God tier Zero G logo. Leave us some feedback using the contact form at our website, zero-gravity-media.com/contact. Each episode, Luke and I like to call out one city. And this city, the magic of this city, is the city with the most HSP listens during the previous week. So without any further ado, the city with the most HSP listens during the previous week is... All right, dear listener, we are putting up numbers in California, and we have done it once again, as always, Long Beach, California. What is going on? Long Beach, welcome. You have found the right one. You believe that. I know your town very well, Long Beach. Thank you so very much. And we hope to do you proper. And we know we will. So thank you so much, Long Beach. So there we go, Luke.
What's going on, dude?
You know, hard living, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up with you, man?
Not a whole lot. It's been a pretty slow news week, so not a whole lot to talk about.
Yeah. I almost believed you there for a minute.
Well, good. Yeah, that means my delivery was good.
Yeah, it's a crazy week. What do you think?
Just about everything, or what?
Yeah, about everything.
Oh God, dude. Okay, actually, I take that back. Let's do this. Let's take a step back. Let's take a step back to last week and discuss this feedback that we got. I just want to address this straight out of the gate. What's the feedback that you got? Let's talk about this.
That we were pill of coloring, that we were negative. Okay. All right. Dear listener. Okay. That's just not true. Okay. Luke and I call the balls and strikes. That's what we do. Okay. What we said last week is that the court system is not agreeing with us. Okay. We also said that this is far from over. Okay. And dear listener, Luke and I are in this. Okay. All right. We're in this. You're in this. We're all in this. Okay. We're in it. Okay. And we are going to prevail one way or another. Luke and I are going to strike a message of unification this week. You believe that. Okay. Now, dear listener. Okay. Don't call us pill of coloring. Okay. Listen, I don't want to bitch you out, dear listener. We love you so much. We thank you for listening, but come on, man. Come on. We just see what we see. That's it. What you got on it, Luke?
I mean, look, in order to derive some sort of value, you have to first assess the facts of reality. Okay, so you've got to be objectively. You have to have an account. Here I am already having to adjust my damn webcam. I'm gonna have to order a new one soon.
By the way, Luke, I also got some other feedback this week. There is a request for the cat again. So,
for the kitten.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dude, we got rid of that thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Shit. Huh. Okay. All right. All right.
Canned that thing.
All right. All right.
Yeah, that thing was, first of all, we thought it was a girl. And the cat that we currently have does not like male cats. She's a girl and she hates male cats. And the reason that we even have the cat that we have now is because we didn't rescue her. She had good owners, but the other cat that those owners had didn't get along. So we took in our current cat. Her name is Mimi. And so we took this.
It's not Mimi. Mimi is the correct.
M-I-M-I. Yeah.
That's the correct pronunciation. Yeah.
Yeah. So then we took in this other cat, and we thought it was a girl. It turns out to have been a boy. And by the end of a week, we just called it the little terrorist, because that thing would just sleep attack constantly. And I was just like, this isn't working out. And so after a few minutes, we were just not a few minutes, after like a week going into the second week, we were about to leave for Austria and go on that gemstone hunting that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
And we were like, we told the people from whom we got it, come get this thing. We can't deal with this anymore. So
shit,
we don't have it anymore. But there's a nice forest cat I'm in the process of acquiring. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. She's chosen me as her owner because she jumped up in my car. So
cats tend to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, totally.
Yeah.
So yeah. So anyways, back to where we were. Okay, so the feedback. So yeah, I mean, in order to derive some sort of value judgment from some sort of situation, and by that I mean, is it good? Is it bad? What course of action should one take? You have to assess it. You have to assess it based upon the facts surrounding it. That includes the context. That includes everything which you can find out about it. All of the you just have to gather as much knowledge as you can, and then you go from there. You don't start out with, I hope this works out, and then go from there. You start out with, what are the facts? And of course we hope it works out. Of course we're honest. Of course we're not going to back down. Of course this should be investigated. That's like, the reason we didn't talk about that stuff is because it's like, you should know us better than that. Like that, seriously, like really? Like you think that we're going to back down from that? Absolutely not. But at the same time, we have to be realistic and don't fall into the same trap that the left falls into, which is they put all their eggs in one basket. I mean, there's no better example of this than Cenk Uygur.
Exactly.
He gets,
yes,
puts all of his eggs in one basket, and then when it doesn't work out, it's just a total meltdown. Okay, you have to be realistic about it and then go from there. And last week we were being realistic about the situation, and I'm still realistic about it. Do I really think this is going to work out? I don't know, man. Last week I was thinking it was like a 20% chance. Now I think it's more like a 30 to 40% chance.
Same here. Yes.
Yeah. We're moving the ball slowly but surely. We're moving the ball. And a lot of the cues that I take for determining that actually come from the left. Cenk Uygur is currently in a meltdown right now. He was tweeting. He was tweeting today. He was on Twitter. Oh my God, there's a coup in the process. As if there wasn't a coup already in the process for the past 4 years. As if there already has not been a peaceful transition of power over the course of the last 4 years. And by the way, it shouldn't even be framed as power. The fact that the left frames it as power, that's a tell on how they regard the office of the presidency, is that it's all about power. Shouldn't be all about power. It should be all about liberty. So, it's like, take your cues from the left themselves. They're melting. They're in a slow meltdown. And if this works out at the end, Russ, and again, dear listener, like, don't get your hopes up, okay? Because you don't want to have a meltdown yourself, okay? Just cool your heels, be patient on this, all right? But dude, Russ, if this ends up working out, this meltdown is we're gonna be mining salt for a month instead of a night.
Yes. Yes, you are indeed correct, sir. Yeah. All right. So let's get right down to it. Okay. Do you believe Sidney Powell?
Absolutely. 100 unequivocally. Yeah.
I do too. Yeah.
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 Dude, Sidney Powell. I am so man. Okay, actually, I want to get your thoughts on this. Tucker, where you at on Tucker?
God, God fucking damn it. You always have to step in shit, Tucker. You always have to. You can't stop doing it. But listen, we are unification right now. We are love. We are unite the right now, dear listener. But Tucker.
Well, not unite the right rally, but
Well,
you know what rest mean. Yeah.
Right. We're reappropriating that meme. But Tucker, man, okay. Listen, on Thursday.
I'm wondering, Russ, if I should have triggered you this early in the show. Maybe this was a mistake on my part because I knew what I was triggering right then.
I'm in a mood. I am in a mood. I am. Okay. But and also I have some great audio to play for you, but we'll get there when we get there. Okay. Tucker. You have on Thursday when I saw this, I was like, everybody is correct. Okay. Tucker's correct to ask for the evidence. Sidney Powell is correct to refuse that evidence. Okay. All's fair so far, but apparently Tucker was a little bit of a shit ass about it. And Tucker, rein it in, bring it back in, Tucker, bring it back in. Okay. Know your part or shut up. And everybody's wanting to talk about this, Luke. It doesn't matter. It's heat lightning. It doesn't matter. Okay. I'm trying to restrain myself really hard.
I knew I was going to trigger you with that question. Man, honestly, when I saw that happen, I was waiting all week. I was like, oh man, I cannot wait to hear Russ be triggered on the show about this. That's that's the thing I've been looking forward to all week is asking you about Tucker. Because dear listener, you should know Russ is a Tucker fanboy.
I am the ultimate Tucker fanboy, dear listener. I am the ultimate Tucker fanboy. And listen, I'm disappointed, Tucker. I'm disappointed. Okay. You be you. Sidney Powell can be Sidney Powell. And, Luke, to be fair, he did put the clarification on Friday. Okay. If she proves this, then we will be the happiest people about that of all time. Tucker, by putting a conditional on it, you know what you're doing. You're smart enough to know you have cast doubt on it by doing this. Okay.
Yeah.
And this woman, Tucker, is risking her very life. Luke and I talked about this yesterday. She is risking her life to do this. So, bro, give her a table dance, all right? Give us a table dance on this, Luke. Tucker, sorry. Give us a table dance.
I don't think you want me giving you a table dance.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make very much tip money off that. Not even worth my time.
Tucker, the point is this, okay? You have a role. You have an important role, okay? Don't abuse it. Don't abuse it right now. Listen, Tucker, we love you. All right. I'm not even going to bitch about Ben Shapiro and Dinesh D'Souza this week, Luke. I'm not even going to bitch about that, okay? Let's stop eating our own for a moment. Let's stop consuming ourselves, okay? Let's do not divide ourselves. Let's stay focused. And that is Steve Bannon's message this week. And that really is the audio I want to play for you, Luke. It's a great rant, but even Steve Bannon is not helping. Let's just back off, everybody.
Back off. To me, there's you have Americans all over this country, right? More than half. Which was actually kind of hilarious that I don't know who was it, some polling group came out with some poll, and they were like 40. They were bragging about 46% of Americans. Okay, we got a comment. We'll hit that in a second. 46% of Americans think that Trump should not concede, and then it's like, okay, well, in saying that, you are also admitting that 54% don't think that.
Right.
So we'll answer this question in the chat. I don't follow politics, so maybe y'all can explain to me, if the evidence for fraud is there, why isn't it being shared as widely as possible?
Easy answer. William Schultz, thank you very much for the comment, because it's not up to the court of public opinion. It is up to a court of law. That's where you share it. Luke, what is your feedback?
Yeah, I mean, there's times in which you can share evidence, but then there's times where they need to hold their cards to their chest. You can't, you have strategy. You can't run around showing all the evidence. And there's probably also evidence, Sidney Powell has at a high level, and they said this in their long press conference, which I listened to twice, actually. Did you listen to that press conference with Rudy Giuliani? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they framed that whole press conference, and I think it was at 45 minutes, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
They framed it, and I actually listened to Sidney Powell's bit, which was about 15 minutes. I listened to that one 3 times in total.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the data is kept private until courts can see it. Yeah. I think it's 2 things. I think it's one, you need to hold your cards close to your chest as a matter of strategy. You can't come out and make all this stuff public, and then they can start already going around thinking about how they're going to deal with it, in the opposition, I should say, thinking about how they're going to deal with it. So on the one hand, it's a strategic play, but on the other hand, all of this stuff, I'm sure, I'm deducing this, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure that a lot of this is actually still being determined and figured out. I know they've hired a lot of experts to run statistical analysis on all the irregularities with respect to Dominion and the voting machines. So I'm sure a lot of it, they're saying we're seeing certain things. Okay. So they're sort of blanketing it as just a high level opening statement. But when you bring it to a court of law, you have to have everything dialed in. You have to have your presentation dialed in, and there's no room for mistakes. There's no room for vagueness. There's no room for any of that. And you can't just go onto Tucker and then just say, oh, here's all of our evidence. Here's all of our data. Here's everything that we have. Because you're not winning. And this is the thing that I think a lot of people need to understand. This week, I saw just how unserious a lot of the people on the right are, especially in the media, because to them, it's a story. To them, it's all about winning the hearts and minds of the people, and that's what matters. And I get that. Okay. I understand that. But to them, it's a story. And it's like, no, this is our very apparatus through which we elect our officials. If that's process, what do we have left? I mean, I'm sorry, if that process is corrupted, if that's a process upon which we can no longer rely, what else do we have left as a political system? And that's the real questions that we should be asking here. And that's how important this is. If we can't rely on our electoral process, then what else do we have? Yeah, that's how serious this issue is in this moment. And you can, if you, William, I'd encourage you to go listen to Sidney Powell's. If you look up, I don't know what the search term would be, but it's the press conference from this past week. I'll find it. I'll post it in the chat for you. It's the press conference from this past week with Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell, and then I can't remember the third person's name. The girl. It was Trump's.
Ellis.
Yeah. It's like Trump's, I think, like senior advisor or senior lawyer or something to that effect. But Sidney Powell's section starts, I believe, at minute 38, and I'll post it in the chat. It's only about 10 or 15 minutes. And I would encourage you to listen to that. And it is absolutely shocking. And you can see it in her face. You can see it in her eyes, and you can hear it in her voice.
Yeah.
How dire this situation is.
Yeah. It's so funny, Luke. A friend of ours, a mutual friend, argued. He got to have lunch with Condoleezza Rice back in 2016, right? and she was already spreading the fear and doubt about Russian interference in the election.
I
All
thought
of
you
a
were,
sudden,
I thought you were going to say Corona.
yeah, well, then it was a little bit in the past, but yeah, fear and doubt about Russian interference in our elections. And he said to me, "Oh my God, if we can't trust our elections, what can we trust?" Bro, that was all fake. We know this now. Every last bit of it was bullshit. Every last bit of it. Okay. Now we have a serious situation of election rigging for decades. Okay. That's what I said in episode number 103, Luke. Really, the path forward is to prove that 30 years of elections have been rigged. Dear listener, I didn't say this on episode number 103. I'm going to say it now. Okay. Sidney Powell is talking about this now. Okay. Luke and I were in San Francisco in 2015, 2016. Luke, what did you see then? I saw maybe one Trump sticker, maybe two Hillary signs, and all I saw was Bernie propaganda. What did you see?
Oh, dude, nothing but Bernie propaganda.
Yeah. Okay. Everywhere, dear listener, in apartment windows, on the streets, on cars, everywhere. Okay, on street cars, right? Then it turns out that Hillary won the prime. And also, dear listener, let me say this: I went to San Diego in that time. I went to LA numerous times during that time, and I saw nothing but the same Bernie posters everywhere. And then all of a sudden the election happens and Hillary wins 70-30. No. You call all of this into question. It's important to call all of this into question. And, or why do we pay taxes? Let's get right down to it. Why do we pay taxes? Right? So
William says that and needles and poop on the ground.
Well, true, William.
Yeah. I have to qualify that, because Russ and I both lived. Russ, you lived in San Francisco for like 15 years, something like that. I lived there for 5.5. And I have to qualify this. Paul Joseph Watson puts out these videos where he's like, San Francisco's a shit. Sorry, I can't do his accent, but San Francisco's a shithole. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of people are saying this, and I was very skeptical about that. And I spoke to a friend who still lives there. I was like, all right, what's the deal with this? And basically it's both. So what he explained to me, he was like, everybody should understand there's an area in San Francisco. It's a triangular area that runs along Market Street that starts right at about Union Square and goes to Van Ness, and it's called the Tenderloin.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the shithole. The shithole also somewhat goes into Soma, which is south of Market, across from the Tenderloin. This is all very near downtown. And downtown itself, to some extent, is, but there's a lot of private property. There's a lot of private sidewalks in San Francisco. It's something people don't know about. I remember walking one day down San Francisco, and I was walking. I walked the same route to work, to and from work to get home. I lived at, about a 5 to 10 minute walk from my work, and I was walking to work one morning, and I was just thinking, God, this sidewalk is such a piece of shit. It's just falling apart, not clean. There's gum everywhere. I was walking home on the other side of the street, and I was thinking, man, this is a really nice sidewalk. It's like almost granite. I don't know what it is, but it's some kind of nice rock, and it's perfectly clean. And right then I passed over a little, not plaque, but a little like brass, plaque sort of thing on the ground. And it said, this sidewalk is private property and owned and managed by, and then that building. And I was like, Jesus Christ, there is no better juxtaposition between the two. And so in downtown San Francisco, you have a lot of privately owned sidewalks, and so they keep the rough people out of there. But it's kind of the Tenderloin is kind of spreading out into Soma and somewhat into the Mission, and that's like the shithole part. But that's in the grand scheme of things, a pretty small part of San Francisco. You get out into the Sunset, you get out, I don't know, God, it's been so long, Russ. What are all the districts out there? Like Sunset,
Richmond, the Panhandle out there, down south, right? I lived in downtown. You lived in downtown, right? North Beach, South Beach, there, Soma, as you said. Yeah,
it's still perfectly normal out there. Maybe Golden Gate Park. There's some people who kind of set up shop in Golden Gate Park, but yeah. So San Francisco. So my friend told me, he was like, yeah, the Tenderloin, Soma, some of the Mission, it's becoming worse, but he's like, it's still isolated to that area, and he's like, the rest of it is not bad at all. It's all the same.
I have differing reports from Dearest Listener and numerous others. It's basically San Francisco is a city of if you look up, it's the most beautiful city in the world. If you look down, it's disgusting. So, and that seems to be in ubiquity. Just what I've heard. I haven't been there. It's unfortunate, man. I really wanted to get back, but the Kung flu prevented that. I miss San Francisco terribly, dude. And
I love San Francisco. That was one of the best times of my life. San Francisco is it's like college 2.0. It's like college, except you and all your friends aren't broke. That's what it is, and you have jobs. And pretty much, a lot of people have great jobs, and I had really fun, cool jobs while I was there. Yeah, there's something about living in a city where Dialforce says shout outs to Job End, and then he corrects it to Knob End.
Shady Nate in the house. What's up, Nate? So yeah.
But anyways, so San Francisco is a great place. It's a lot of fun, and that's where I got intellectually challenged. That's where my intellectual growth happened. I was a normie conservative when I went out there, and then quickly found. I mean, it's a very educated, smart, passionate population.
Yeah,
and you find a lot of very hardcore leftist people there. But you also find a lot of hardcore, like Bitcoin type, libertarian type people out there too.
Yeah.
Pretty much, there's not very many normie conservatives out there because you get pulled one way or the other. There's no room for the middle there. And I don't mean that in like it's all so polarized. I mean that in a way. It's like you get out there and you get eaten alive intellectually quickly. And I think within 6 months, I was like, Ron Paul,
yeah.
But, and then then after that, I found out about other things. And then I grew out of libertarianism and just started referring to myself as a capitalist and, started reading a lot of objectivist material and so on and so forth. And, but San Francisco was the place that caused that to happen because it's such an educated population and you just get challenged and you realize that unless you really dive into these, really dive into I just remember thinking I had one day I was left without answers and I could not argue with that was my problem in the first place, was arguing. I think that's a bad approach in the first place. But I just was so frustrated that I said, you know what? Like, I'm going to strip away every single thing that I cannot reason with. And I did. And that was a radical change. And took 2 years of me just reading and just soaking up material. And that was a really dramatic and radical change. And then I went through this like evangelist phase where I was talking to everybody about it. Trying to convince everybody in the bar and, I mean, it's like cringy to think about, dude. But, and then I was like, okay, well, people don't want to hear about that shit, so. And then, but I learned how to talk to people in bars, and it was kind of like a little bit of a like Socratic experience, taking to the streets and talking to the youth, and figuring out like what works and what doesn't. But that's, that was like my intellectual journey in a nutshell.
Yeah, man. I full on had a second coming of age in San Francisco. I really did. You come of age at 18 or 19, and then I did it again in San Francisco. And there's no other city in the world that could have offered that at all, So I miss it, man. And I do understand that it is a shadow of its former self because of the Kung Flu. I get it. I get it. I still want to be there. I still want to be there. Now, do I want to live there?
I
Probably
definitely
not.
want to go back and visit. I want to go
Yeah.
spend like 2 weeks there.
Yeah, same here.
Rent an apartment or an Airbnb.
Yep.
For like 2 weeks.
Yep.
Hang out there, hit up our old spots.
Yeah. Yeah. Assuming they exist, they may be gone now. I don't know. I'll be honest, man.
I'm sure Dimples is letting people in the back door.
Probably, man. I miss that place. I've been thinking about it constantly, man. I really
Dimples?
miss that place. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That place was so shady. But it was such a, I don't know, man. I love Japantown. By the time I left, Japantown was my favorite spot in area of San Francisco.
Pretty much same here. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you and I always hung out in South of Market on 2nd Street along there. But
that's where we both worked. Yeah.
Yeah. But we hung out in Japantown quite a bit too. We did.
Yeah. South of Market was the weekdays after work weekday district, and then Japantown was the weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
Spot.
Yeah. That's right. So yeah, I miss it. I do, man. So
we triggered William with the objectivist talk.
Sorry, William. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So, dear listener, I have some themes worked out for this week. One of these is unification. Okay. And just getting back in the saddle, Luke, dear listener, this is John asked me this week, is this when the right eats ourselves? Yes, it is. It looks like it. We can't do it. We can't do it right now. Dear listener, okay? We have to stay focused and stay reasonable, okay? This stuff with Tucker and Sidney Powell is completely objectionable. We have no time for this right now. We have no time, okay? Luke and I want to unify everybody. And so we are going to stay on that message, right? Again, I'm not even going to bitch about Ben Shapiro and Dinesh D'Souza for a while, okay? I'm not. I'm happy to ride with them for the moment, okay? What happens, dear listener? There's no way of knowing. We are in uncharted waters. There's no way to know, right?
Yeah, I want to jump in and say 2 quick things here to qualify that. Okay, is this all about like, oh, Trump? We want Trump to win. We want Trump to win. No, not necessarily.
No,
we want a fair election. That's all we want. We want a fair election. That's what this is about. If Biden really won, okay, this is the second point I'm about to get to. Biden really won, then so be it. He won. Get over it. That's the way the political process works. We're not worried about the concrete, which comes later. We're worried about the process itself. That's what we're concerned about. So whatever the process produces, then that's what it is. And we want it to be fair and we want it to be honest. We don't want it to be corrupt. Now, that being said, looking at the anomalies which happened on election night, 125,000 ballots, all of which were for Biden being brought in at 3:42 in the morning. I believe this was Michigan or Pennsylvania. 100%. Yeah, 100% for Biden. They had shut down, Sidney Powell said they shut down the Dominion machines because as she said, the algorithms were not working correctly, because the algorithms can be set to give, for every Trump vote counts as 0.75, every Biden vote counts as 1.25.
Yep.
And she was saying that this is actually a feature listed in the user manual of the software.
Yeah.
So she was like, don't take it from me. Go download the user manual off the internet. This is a feature that they offer. And she was like, the algorithms, Trump was being so widely supported in the vote that it didn't break the algorithms, but the algorithms weren't set up to accommodate the massive support which Trump received. So they shut down the machines. And then at 3:42 in the morning, a van full of votes shows up, 125,000 votes. I mean, it is so blatantly obvious at this point. You either have to be somebody who doesn't follow this topic, which is fine. That's you don't know the facts, which is okay. All right. If you're not privy to the facts, that's one thing. It just means you prioritize in other areas. Okay. And that's fine. But if you are aware of the facts and you still don't care, then that means you are so profoundly dishonest that there's no hope for you as a thinking human being. That if you're aware of these facts and you still don't think there's corruption, there's no hope for you. I don't know. I just don't know what to say.
Looking at you.
Yeah, seriously. And people like Tucker, it just shows how unserious they are. This is a story. This is one of the biggest stories. This is not a story.
Yeah.
This is the potentiality for the very apparatus through which our government is, our governmental officials are elected, that very apparatus being corrupted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this software coming out of, like, the software was produced in Venezuela for Hugo Chavez.
Yeah.
And it's brought into the country through Cuba, likely the Chinese, according to Sidney Powell, Russia.
Yeah.
Dude, like Russ, I was thinking about it this week. I was kind of like trying to put the dots together in my head. I mean, even going back to JFK, there's an argument to be made for, someone messaged on Discord. I want to make sure that, no, we're all good. I wanted to make sure somebody wasn't like, there was an echo or something like that.
Okay.
You know, like, there's an argument even to be made for, like, the JFK assassination was initiated by communist forces, communist interests.
Yeah.
There's an argument to be made for that. And going all the way forward to today, there's an argument to be made for our election system to be compromised through communist influence. It's unbelievable, dude. I really think that this is, I don't know. I need to do more research about Putin. I need to do more research. I don't want to make any wide-ranging assertions here, but it appears to me at this point that we are not simply battling like the Democrat Party and Biden's corrupt. It appears to me that this is a much bigger situation. That it's obvious that Biden uses his office, and I told a lot of people, I'm like, look, if Biden gets president, like, literally, who cares? Okay, like, he's a businessman. He uses his political. I mean, he's not a businessman in the honest sense, but he's not an ideologue. Okay, he's not Bernie Sanders. He's not AOC. Biden is not an ideologue. Biden uses his political influence for the purposes of business. That's it. He just does whatever's pragmatic to him for business interests to enrich his family. Is that the right thing to do? No. Is it honest? No. Is it immoral? Absolutely and totally. Is it evil? Absolutely and totally. Have they been shipping jobs overseas in order to enrich their own families, to make deals? Absolutely. I think there's an argument to be made for the fact that we also don't make it any easier on ourselves with respect to taxation and regulation, and making it more attractive for a company to relocate a factory to the other side of the planet than just build it next door. I think there's an argument to be made there as well. But Joe Biden is certainly greasing palms to make sure that happens, because his palms are greased. So I think there's a lot of really systemic, problematic issues going on here. But it's not Biden I'm worried about. It's people like Biden allowing themselves to be bought out so that hostile foreign, I don't want to say powers, but I mean, I don't know how else to put it, are working their way. They're getting their tentacles into our country. I think Dominion voting systems was possibly but one. I can't say that for sure. I want to wait and see how this investigation goes down, how the court rules, and how all this goes down. I'm not going to commit to that yet. I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket yet. But I'm telling you, dude, I've been thinking about it all week, and I'm like, this is what that smells like. This whole thing. That's what all of that smells like. And that in concert with the Great Reset.
Yes. Yes.
Red Pill, dude.
Listener about the Great Reset real fast. Yeah.
My God. Okay. let me pull up my show prep here. Dude, this is so absurdly ridiculous. Okay. The Great Reset is proposed by the World Economic Forum to rebuild the economy sustainably following the COVID-19 pandemic. It was unveiled in May 2020 by the United Kingdom's Prince Charles and World Economic Forum director Klaus Schwab. A conspiracy theory has spread in response, claiming it will be used to bring in socialist and environmentalist changes.
Conspiracy theory, please.
Yeah.
They said this, dear listener. Go on, Luke. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So claiming it's used to bring in socialist and environmentalist changes and supposed new world order. Okay. Now, I'm jumping over to the World Economic Forum website. They're the ones that planned this, announced it. And the top is, now it's time for the Great Reset. COVID-19 lockdowns may be gradually easing, but anxiety about the world's social and economic prospects are only intensifying. There is good reason to worry. A sharp economic downturn has already begun. I wonder why.
Yeah.
And we could be facing the worst depression since the 1930s. But while the outcome is oh my God, the worst depression. While this outcome is likely, it is not unavoidable. To achieve a better outcome, the world must act jointly and swiftly to revamp all aspects of let me repeat that. Revamp all aspects of our societies and economies, from education to social contracts and working conditions. I don't know what every country in the United States to China, from the United States to China, must participate in every industry from oil and gas to tech must be transformed. Now, before I read the last sentence of that paragraph, I'm going to jump over to the conspiracy theory section on the Wikipedia page. The conspiracy theory is without evidence. The World Economic Forum does not have the authority to tell countries what to do, nor did politicians plan the virus, nor are they using it to destroy capitalism or have formed a secret cabal. Okay, but let me back up to this part. Nor are they using it to destroy capitalism. Okay, jumping back over to the World Economic Forum website, the last sentence of that paragraph. In short, we need a great reset of capitalism.
Yep. There it is. Dear listener, there it is. Yeah, conspiracy theory, indeed. Conspiracy fact, dear listener. Conspiracy fact. So,
dude, they're trying to create a United Nations government. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, that is what they're doing. And listen, this used to be Alex Jones tier shit back in the day. This used to be crazy theory. It's not. They literally state their intentions, dear listener. They state their intentions. And
I'm reading from their website. This isn't from what's Alex Jones's company?
InfoWars.
I'm not reading an InfoWars article or something like that. This is the World Economic Forum website announcing what it is. I mean, I'm not making this up. You can go there yourself. Hell, I'll post it in the chat if you don't believe me.
Yeah, it's crazy shit, man. Crazy shit. And dear listener, all of this in the context of our election being subverted, our will being denied. And dear listener, those of you who told us that we were pill of coloring last week, listen, we never said Donald Trump was not elected. We said Donald Trump was elected. Our will is being denied. In this context, to whom is Joe Biden beholden, dear listener? The World Economic Forum. You believe that? You believe it?
Basically, everybody, not us. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Thanks for jumping in, William. Hope you're able to make it in the future.
Yeah, good to see you, William. Thank you so much.
So, dude, dear listener, we're not making this up. It's truly incredible. Okay, so William, I'm going to read this. Reminded me of one of my favorite passages. Do not hide behind such superficialities as whether you. I'll put it on the stream. Do not hide such superficialities as whether you should or should not give a dime to a beggar. That is not the issue. The issue is whether you do or do not have the right to exist without giving them that dime.
Indeed.
So, well,
Hmm.
thanks for posting that, William. So that's a
Yeah.
great reset. That's what all this is about. They know if Trump gets elected, that ain't happening. Because
Yeah,
guess what?
that's right.
America's the piggy bank. We're going to be the ones funding this.
Yeah.
They're basically what they're proposing here is to take the piggy bank, smash it on the ground while everybody else tries to scoop up all of the money pouring out.
Yeah, exactly. And to that end, Joe Biden has promised we will get back in the Paris Climate Accord. We will
Oh
get
God.
Trans-Pacific Partnership, and we will fund all of that as well. Dear listener, you are nothing but a battery to these people. You are nothing but a piggy bank, right, to extract from. That's all you are to these people.
Yeah.
That is why we all voted for Donald Trump. And Luke, again, I think there's a good chance he will be inaugurated. I think there's a really good chance.
I think there's a real chance. I don't know if I'd call it a good chance, but I think it's a real chance.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 And dear listener, listen, I got a little bit ass blasted by your feedback last week about Luke and I being pill of coloring. Okay. I got a little bit ass blasted about it. Okay. Sorry about that. We love y'all so much, but I got a little bit pill of colored by it. Luke and I have never denied anything.
We're just being realistic.
Yeah, we're just being realistic. That's it.
That's all.
That's it. And we're just trying to call the balls and strikes. Dear listener, Luke and I are not investigative journalists. We don't have the time for it. We're wage slaves, just like you. Okay. We voted for Donald Trump, just like you. Okay. We tried to scoop up as much information as we can and throw it into a podcast because Luke and I are podcast hosts, right? We are.
And more importantly, put it through our filters as well.
Yes, exactly. That too. We are aggregators. That's the best we can hope to do. And
like
so,
I'm sorry. What we try to do is we try to take a bunch of disintegrated facts,
yeah,
and then put it through our thought process, our process of thought, and then spit that out in the way we best know how.
Yeah,
it's no more complicated than that.
Yeah, and we're damn good at it, dear listener. That's one thing I missed, dear listener. One thing I missed this week is somebody telling us we're damn good at what we do. Okay, so give us some praise this week. Okay, give us some praise, right? Because we just do the best we can. And listen, I'm not asking for a pity fuck here. Okay, all right. We do the best we can, but we do not want to deny the facts before us right now. Okay. And Luke and I are in this fight. And Luke, I was told twice, we need you in the fight. Man, where in the fuck do you think we've been, dear listener? We're in this fight. Okay. Damn. And so help us out. Okay. Let's get together. Let's don't get separate here. And Luke, if I may say, which I do, this is our first week of overwhelmingly negative feedback. It's our first, right? So
overwhelmingly negative?
Well, there was no positive. So
you just said that somebody said that we're good at what we do.
No, I said they didn't say we're good at what we do.
Wait. So they said we're not good at what we do.
No. Nobody said that we're good at what we do.
Okay. I see.
Nobody said that. So
I don't need their opinion. We do this because we're having fun. I don't give a shit.
That's true. Yeah. But we do love, dear listener. We love our audience. Okay. We do. Right. We do the best we can. And
dude, I think everybody is just stressed out right now. Everybody's on pins and needles.
Yeah.
It's like, my mom told me, she's like, I wish somebody would just put me into a coma and wake me up when this is all finished. And if Biden gets reelected, wake me up in 4 years.
Yeah.
I think that's how everybody is right now.
Yeah.
Just like, just cool your heels. Okay.
Yeah.
The way to do this, and this is something I wanted to talk about, at some point, it's like mental health and politics. Okay. Like if your like mental health is declining because of politics, like you need to seriously reevaluate your values. Yeah. Like check out for a bit, turn off the news, go fishing, like go pursue some other values, develop yourself a little bit more. Okay. Does it stress me out? do I think about it? Does it, like, when I wake up in the morning? Yeah, absolutely. It stresses me out, but it's like, I have other shit that I think about and do and worry about and stuff that makes me happy. And like, if it really concerns you that much, I don't know, come up with an escape plan, like buy some land in Panama or something like this, like come up with a plan. Like I can apply for dual citizenship here in Germany here soon. Does it make me happy that I'm having to even have to think that? Absolutely not. But it allows me to rest my head on the pillow at night, knowing that if the United States, the country that I love more than any other country on this planet, goes down the shitter, like I have places to go and things to do and values I can pursue and a life to be lived. If this really stresses you out that much, just take a deep breath and go do something that makes you happy, and then come back and revisit what's going on. And then after that, go do something that makes you happy again. I just happen to love talking about politics. And I love talking with Russ about politics, and I love thinking about this stuff, and it in it of itself is a value to me. So even though it stresses me out, it also simultaneously makes me happy. So yeah. So like, so just, if it stresses you out that much, and I don't want to say anybody's lashing out on anybody else, but maybe ask yourself the question, are you too involved right now currently? Are you too stressed out? Is it seriously damaging your mental health? And maybe you should go, think about doing something that makes you happy for a little bit, instead of just watching the news all the time.
Yeah. I want to return to your first point, Luke, and that is this. Okay, dear listener, the reason the right is eating itself right now, the reason everybody is attacking each other is exactly what Luke said. We are forlorn because we had an election stolen from us, okay? And we know it, and we can prove it, all right? Tucker saying there's no evidence of it. Bro, there is nothing but evidence of a stolen election at all. There is nothing but that, okay? And we all know it, and we all feel it, and hence the Million MAGA March in D.C. last week. We're all stressed out right now, Now, I know y'all shit is emotional right now, in the words of President Trump. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay? All right. Everybody's emotional, right? Let's stay focused. If you got to check out, you got to jump off the trail, jump off, okay? We're always here. Dear listener, Luke and I are always here. You can come back anytime, right? But if you got to jump out, jump out. Don't go attack somebody like Tucker. Don't go do that, okay? Just check out for a little bit. We're here. We're always here. And so we're here because this is what we do, dear listener. This is what we do. So we're not trying to pill of color, okay? We're trying to call the balls and strikes as best we can. Okay.
We got a person in the chat says ignore the Violet in the chat says ignore the negative comments. What are those criticizing doing to help?
Yeah. Hey Violet, how's it going? Thanks for being here. Thank you so much. So
yeah, totally agree. So I mean, I don't want to go be overly dramatic about it. Oh, people are criticizing us. I mean, whatever. Like, it doesn't bother me.
Fine. Dear listener, we're we're okay. You keep us honest, it's cool. But anyway, I step off here. Go on, Luke. Sorry, man.
No. Well, okay, dude. So I think we've talked about the election. I mean, if we could sum everything up, I mean, there's a little bit of movement this week with Justice John Roberts assigning the 4, if you want to call them right-wing justices, but the justices who've been appointed by Republican presidents, are nominated, I should say, to these states where this voter fraud, I should say alleged, even though it's just so glaringly obvious at this point, where this voter fraud has happened. Have you heard about that, Russ?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. I don't know much about it, but I have heard of it. Yes.
I screen capped. Oh, damn it. I can't open stupid Windows, man. It's so buggy. And so is my damn webcam. Everybody sees my Snuggie. And I don't know if you noticed this, Russ. I'm Turbo Company. Dear listener, nobody should be. Being this company should be illegal. I've got my Christmas vacation moose mug with eggnog. Yeah.
Nice.
Homemade eggnog. You can't get American eggnog here in Germany.
Homemade eggnog. Yeah, good, man. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Well, yeah, I can't show it. But basically what I understand it to be the case is basically they can, and I could be wrong on this. I wanted to do some research on this, but I had no time. I was actually reading and researching the Great Reset. But I understand it to be the case that what these Supreme Court justices can do is choose to not accept the certification of the results. So, for example, Georgia certified their results, right? Well, then Trump asked them to do another recount, or perhaps it was an audit. I'm not quite sure, and they now have to do that again. But I understand that what happened with this is that a firewall was put into place. And so ACB has one state. I can't remember. It's like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Georgia, I believe. ACB has one state. Alito has one state. Kavanaugh has one state.
Dang, this defies my understanding of all of it. Do go on. Do tell. Huh.
Okay. I found it was on poll this week. Let me. Okay. I got. Let me open up my phone because like freaking WhatsApp is not opening up on my computer, so I have to read it off my phone. Just give me 1 second here. But I found it on poll and it was like a happening thread. And I was like, okay, is this really a happening thread or is this a fake happening thread? Here we go. Okay, so circuit courts have been reassigned effective November 20th of 2020. So this was 2 days ago. Ordered pursuant to Title 28. Okay. Someone in the chat says water segment last night did a good job. See, this is the problem. Being in Germany, I can't watch the news. Not as if I would want to, anyways. But Title 28, United States Code, Section 42. Michigan gets Brett Kavanaugh. Wisconsin gets ACB. Pennsylvania gets Sam Alito, and Georgia gets Clarence Thomas. And linked to a tweet. Oh, and then there was a funny meme with I'll send it to you after this. But then I screen capped like a couple of relevant
the red eyes Justice Thomas, the red eyes Joseph. I have been waiting.
It was actually the red eyes ACB, and then there was like, I don't know what is it, the dude with the eye patch and like the scars on his face.
Oh God.
That's they made Brett Kavanaugh, and
yeah.
And then there's like somebody from, I don't know, it's like from the Avengers or some shit. I don't know. I don't watch those cartoon movies, but and then on Twitter, I parsed through a whole bunch of comments, and the two comments which seem to be the most explanatory, where essentially it means legislatures should think twice about certifying their states too quickly. If they do so without being prudent and fair about the allegations, SCOTUS will be watching. Then below that, election cases will be handled by these judges, because some people kept asking like, okay, great, what does this mean? So election cases will be handled by these judges. And then someone else said pretty much means that the justices who will sit on Trump's campaign's fight in those 4 states will be facing actual justices and not Democrat activist judges. Huge win for Patriots and Trump, because they will actually look at the evidence and rule accordingly. So
that's pilling. That's good. That's
good. Totally. So this is what I say. I mean, I think that I view it as this. I think that, somebody said like, where do you think we are in the field right now? And like, everybody is commenting like, oh, we're, it's for first and goal, and it's like, okay, no, it's more like second down and we're on the 46, something like that. And we're getting like 3
the first. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're getting like 3 yards a run, and there's a minute and a half left in the game. You know, we're gonna have to make a couple big passes, have a couple big runs, and we're gonna have to just grind it out if we're gonna come out with the W on this.
Yeah, that is not pill of coloring, dear listener. That's how we assess the situation at the moment. Go on, Luke. Sorry.
No, that's it. I mean, I was pretty much finished. So, I mean. That's it. I mean, if the big takeaway for me from the election, if I could sum up, is like right now, Trump, they have to grind it out. I believe everything that Sidney Powell is saying. I believe her 100%. Rudy Giuliani, I have to assume that he knows what he's doing when he's asking for restaurant recommendations in court, you know, like, because I understand that, you know, because he had that real awkward like court case,
Yeah,
where he was like, oh,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. And the judge was just like GTFO. And then he was like, okay, great. Well, where's the nearest good restaurant, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
I think that was because it's like, yeah, let's get this over with so we can take it to the Supreme Court. We don't have a lot of time to waste here, you know? I have to assume he knows what he's doing when he does these weird, awkward things. I think all that's great. I think they have the proof that they need. I think they have their ducks in a row. It's just a matter of time at this point. How much time is left on the clock? And can we do it? And I don't think that they would be doing what they're doing right now if they didn't think they have enough time. That in concert with the beginning of the meltdown, Cenk Uygur kicking off the official meltdown, that's good news. It's indicative of people who presumably have access to information, which we likely don't. If they're melting down, then that's a good thing. So I am my optimist. I'm an eternal optimist. My optimist side, I'm like 60%. My realistic side is like 45%.
Yeah, I'm 35-40. 35-40. All right, so let me ask you a question, Luke. Serious question. Okay. Is it worth it to you to sacrifice Donald Trump being inaugurated in order to burn down this corrupt election system? Is that a worthwhile horse trade? For me, it is, unequivocally.
Let me ask you this. Why is that a dichotomy?
It is in order to frame a question, and it is also because I sort of think that's sort of what I think is going to happen. That again, I'm at 40% best that Donald Trump is inaugurated. If he is inaugurated, the country's going to burn to the ground. But is it a worthwhile sacrifice to have him not inaugurated, even though he won the election, dear listener? Luke and I know that he won the election. We know. Luke, I have so much evidence in my show prep right now, but we don't have time to get to it. But there is so much. Tucker, there's nothing but evidence there too, okay? He won the election. Is it worth it for him to not be inaugurated if we burn down the election system? The reason it's a dichotomy is, I suppose it's my framing of the question, asking you what you're willing to exchange in order for the election system to be cleaned up. I suppose that's why. It is my dichotomy. That's why. I don't view it as a dichotomy. I view it as if Trump gets elected, it's burned down. Yeah.
If Trump doesn't get elected, we should burn it down. I mean,
all right, let's be precise about this. Trump was elected. If he is inaugurated,
fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. Choice of words, but yeah. Okay. No, yeah. If Trump is inaugurated, you had better believe, and also let me stop myself here. The other reason I'm generally positive about this whole thing is because Trump's been talking about this since 2012.
Yes,
he's known about all the corruption since 2012. He passed this is something other people are nobody's talking about. He passed an executive order putting the elections into a state of emergency just before the 2018 midterms.
Oh yes.
He is out in front of this. This is not new. It may be the case where both sides have been caught off guard by the extent of the effectiveness of the other. The left being caught off guard by how much support Trump's going to receive, and Trump being caught off guard by how corrupt the left actually really is.
Right.
But here's the thing. Now we know what they're willing to do. They're willing to drop off 125,000 Biden votes, Democrat votes at 4:00 in the morning.
Yep. Computer
in multiple states.
Fact, computer filled, and then run through the counter over and over and over again. So it's not just 125,000, dear listener. It's 125,000 times 3 because they ran them through multiple times through the Dominion machines.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Totally. So, I mean, yeah, if Trump is inaugurated, then I can. I'm not Q. I'm not trust the plan. Okay.
Okay.
But he has to have known about this long in advance. There's no question about that in my mind. And he has to have been out in front of this long in advance.
Mm.
And if he's elected, I really do believe that he's going to burn down the system. And I ask myself, why didn't he already?
Yeah.
If he were out in front of it. Okay, then we get into trust the plan territory.
Right. Right.
Maybe he did. Maybe he allowed this to happen so that we could all see how corrupt it really is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't know. And if that's the case, if that happens, that I mean, the left is. I don't even know what is the Democrat Party at that point. 1/3 of Democrats are already saying that Trump shouldn't concede the election. That was a poll that came out this week.
Sure.
So even the Democrats are like, this is a little fishy. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And if he does not get inaugurated, then yeah, absolutely. Like, go burn down the system. But I don't think that there's like an exchange where it's like the left is going to be like, oh, hey, Trump, let's cut a deal here. You concede to Joe Biden. And then
I did not mean to imply that. I did not mean to imply that at all. Right. It was just a measure of value, I suppose. I put this dichotomy in place in the question to measure your value, I suppose. Right.
My value is burn it down. That's what it is. Yeah. I mean, just unmask it and burn down the corruption. That's it. Whether Trump gets inaugurated or not, I do care, but not in this context. In this context, it's just across the board, burn it down. We should have fair elections. I mean, my God, dude, if like ancient Athens in Rome, if they could figure out how to have fair elections 2,500 years ago, which they did, how in the like, dude, do you know how they cast their votes back then?
By stone. Is that right? By stone?
The Romans did. The Romans, they had a black pebble, and then you had no, they had a black pebble and a white pebble, and then there was an urn. And then you would, if you wanted for, you would put the white pebble in, and if you were against, you'd put the black pebble in, and it was anonymous. And then they would just count the pebbles, and it was an anonymous, secure voting system, just very straightforward. You know, in fact, that's trivia. That's actually the origins of being blackballed. The term blackballed. That's where that comes from.
I'll be damned. I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fascinating. Okay.
Yeah. And then the Athenians, they had like little clay, like a little bit thicker than a quarter. And then and you had two of them. You're given two of them, and one of them had like a small metal rod pushed like straight through the middle, right? So you could pinch it between two fingers, and nobody would know which one you were holding. So you had one in each hand, but you didn't. And the one with the and the one with the rod through it was the vote for, and they had two urns, and then you would put the one you wanted to vote for in one, and then against was in the other, and then they would compare the two. It's like, seriously, why the hell do we need to involve machines and software and all this shit? You know, and they were counting, you know, like there were 1 million residents in Rome. It's at one point, you know, like how all of this shit that's been introduced is been introduced on purpose. There are easy ways to do this. If they wanted it to be simple, straightforward, and transparent, it would be.
Yeah. Dear listener,
it's no more complicated than that. We figured this out 2,500 years ago.
Absolutely. And all of these apparatus have to be included if they must. All of this computer counting. Dear listener, consider Luke's premise for a moment in light of the fact that America's Got Talent can count 138 million votes in a minute. Stop and think about it. Yeah. Stop and think about it. So,
but if we, if all of a sudden a bunch of like trannies and and there's no white people winning America's Got Talent anymore, then we know they're using Dominion now. So,
shit.
They come back from commercial. Wow. In the last 3 seconds of the commercial break, we just had a surge of 50 million votes for Mr. Carol Smith.
Damn. Man, that's a sharp edge right there, bro. That's a sharp. Yeah. Dear listener, we need to take audio break here pretty quick, but I want to read to you a Sundance piece, Sundance at Conservative Treehouse, okay? And I'm reading his piece because he was canceled. I don't know if you heard this, all right? Luke, I'm so sad, man. I've read Conservative Treehouse since Andrew Breitbart died in 2013. That's when I first got on to Conservative Treehouse. They've been canceled. They got thrown off WordPress, okay? There will be a new Conservative Treehouse, dear listener, but the Conservative Treehouse that I know and love, that you know and love, will not be the same. It is going to be something different. Okay. So Sundance says this: the most critical Wolverine message: you are not alone. Regardless of whether Donald Trump's legal arsenal is able to overcome the entrenched media operations drumbeating a deafening noise to distract from the 2020 fraud, or our mega army is solidly behind our leader. If President Trump takes our army into a new political party of his choosing, our new party is structurally set to lay waste to any candidate within both wings of Democrat and Republican assembly. A Trump-inspired new political party can wipe out the illusion of the Democrat-Republican two-party system, specifically because much of the Trump movement consists of former Democrats and brand new voters. Dear listener, I'm getting that glare again, as I told you about 102 and 103. Sorry about that. It's hard to read. The MAGA coalition is the most diverse, widest, and deepest part of the entire American electorate. President Trump's army consists of every creed, color, race, gender, ethnicity, and orientation. It is a truly colorblind coalition of a middle America patriot and middle-class voters that cuts through the political special interest groups. Quite simply, Trump's MAGA army is the ultimate political splitter party. No Republican will ever hold office in the next decade, that is, without the blessing of President Donald J. Trump. And there is absolutely no current confidence that President Trump will not lay waste to the system if the GOP acquiesces to the transparent fraud that exists behind the Biden-Harris sham. Beyond the politics, this 80 million plus vote assembly are consumers of products, goods, and services generated by the same elites that hold them in contempt. If President Trump transfers and directs that energy, entities, and even entire industries can be wiped out. There is no precedent here. 80 million angry Americans resolved to a common objective is not something to be trifled with. Well said, Sundance. Could not agree more. Dear listener, the message is this: we have the power. Fuck all them. Okay? Fuck all them. We have the power. Okay? And also, fuck this squabbling. Fuck all of it. Okay? We have the power. Luke and I are on board with you, and we are going to fight with you. Okay? Because we are strong together and we speak for you. And there it is.
Stronger together. Wasn't that some shitlib leftist mantra or something?
It was. Yeah. That was Hillary's second. First of all, her first campaign slogan was, "I'm with her. Oh my God." And then it tested so badly, they changed it to "Stronger Together." Yes, that was her ending campaign slogan. You know,
yeah.
As opposed to "Make America Great Again," which is the greatest campaign slogan.
Totally.
Remain consistent. Yeah.
And Biden's Build Back Better. It's like,
so stupid.
The tacit admission there being that we built back at least good.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's how bad that campaign slogan is.
Exactly.
I mean, if you were smart, you would just say build back.
Yeah.
But they had to add the better in there and sort of tacitly admit that you did already build it back.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I got to ask before we go to break, what's up with are you working at are you a coffee shop barista now? What's up with the little hipster scarf there?
Cold. It's cold, bro. That's it. I know it's hipstery, but like seriously, my neck was cold, and so I just threw on the scarf. That's why. And
okay, I didn't know if maybe you had Corona.
Yeah, no, I don't have Corona. I don't have Corona. A gift from dearest listener, and so I was just cold. That's it. My bad. I ain't trying to be no hipster. That's it. So, question. I respect it. So,
yeah. All right, dude. Well, let's go to break. Before we go to break, dear listener, if you want to join our Discord, I invited listeners to join our Discord a while back. If you want to join our Discord, let us know. Before I say that, I should mention that our Discord the link is G14 classified. And you will have to go through extreme vetting, a proper immigration process, and we do test for corona before joining the server.
Yes.
Or you'll have to provide a negative corona test before joining the server.
Yes.
In both nostrils, because it's come out that you can be positive in one but not the other. So we need 2 negative tests, one for each nostril, and the throat test.
Well done, man. Well done.
All right, dude. Well, let's go to break.
All right. Dear listener, I have the greatest rant of the week. All right, Luke, we should start doing a segment about this, the Bannon rant, okay? Because he always has one each week, but I have a Steve Bannon rant pulled up. And dear listener, it's close. All right. All of the Newsmax appearances of Sidney Powell, right? Her saying she's not going to go on Tucker again. All of this, it's tempting. It's tempting. But I want to play the rant for you because it is just so damn entertaining. Luke, it was on the War Room, his podcast. And dear listener, Luke and I are not in the business of turning you on to other podcasts, right? But Luke, this was the funniest shit ever. And it's about 6 minutes, man. Can we be disciplined enough to get back in the saddle in 6 minutes?
Yeah, because we're already going long on segment 1. So yeah, 6-minute break is perfect. I'd like to be out of here within 2 hours. So
all right. Yeah, we can do it. All right. So dear listener, here is the Steve Bannon rant. Enjoy. Thank you so much for riding along this 104-mile trek with Luke and I. We hope you're enjoying it as much as Luke and I are. And Luke and I will be back at you before you know it. Enjoy the Bannon rant. Here we go.
K. Bannon.
The epidemic.
Here's
left doesn't here. This is why they're in panic mode. This is why everybody's got to take a deep breath. We're winning. And we're winning because you see they're getting more and more irrational when they're now attacking, looking in the camera and going, Mitch, you got to shut this down. Republican establishment, all the Mitt Romneys of the world, right? You've got to fold. No. We're going to get to the bottom of this. Okay. This is an unstoppable force. And the left is just going to have to understand, and the globalists are going to have to understand that all of your crimes are going to be exposed. Okay. And you're going to have to suffer the consequences. You're going to have to take full accountability. Joe Biden and his team could stop this immediately if they came forward and pitched in and said, hey, we don't need any more lawsuits. Here's what let's do. Let's go down to the state level. Let's go to the precinct level. Let's get it all here because we want to prove that we had the greatest come from behind in the middle of the night, right? We want to prove that because that will really start the Biden legacy. You want to start the Biden legacy and you want to have guys, you don't have anybody coming out on the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal. There's no leaks from investment banks or corporate America. This guy wants to be Secretary of Commerce. This guy wants to be Secretary of Treasury. This guy wants to be all of that. You don't see that. What you see is total crickets. And the reason is they understand the fix is in. They understand this and they don't want to be associated with it. So Biden, there's a great article in Politico. Excuse me. What Obama needed to do to be great? Why wasn't Obama great? It's a very perceptive article. Why? Could Obama been a contender? Could he been a great one? Because he wasn't. And here's why he wasn't. So Joe Biden, your entire life, you just kind of wandered around. Your call to greatness is right now. So you don't need to lecture Mitch, Joe Scarborough. What you should be lecturing is Joe Biden and saying, hey, because you and Mika, you couldn't stop yourself coming up the Trump Tower to suck up to Trump after he won. Go suck up to Biden and suck up to Biden and say, hey, here's your path to greatness. You know what your path to greatness is? Let's not just shut up the deplorables, and let's not just shut up the Sidney Powell and Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon and all these cranks. Let's get them on your team. And the way you get them on team, you'll show that you, in the middle of the night, you had this amazing comeback. Right. And you actually are legitimate. You are legal, that these are not just all votes count, but all legitimate votes. And in the legitimate legal votes, you beat Trump. Let's do it. The reason that's not going to happen is they understand what they did. And the reason they won't come out and debate the guys in the Donald, but they'll call them cyber criminals, and the ways they won't take on the data, and the reason they won't take on the Yale professors from Princeton, right? The mathematicians. The reason they won't confront this is Rudy's hair. Look, he's got, his the hair and makeup didn't work. They don't want to talk about the facts. You don't see him come out talking about any facts. Do you see any analysis and any details about the 6-hour commission meeting that Jack Posobiec got 1 million views on as he's going commentary for all 5 hours when they're sitting there desperately trying to rewrite the manual to get it conformed to law because they got caught dead to rights by Reince Priebus and the team out in Wisconsin. The guys in Wisconsin are all Wisconsin nice. They're not a bunch of jerks like us. They're not looking for fights. They're just average citizens. You got a veterinarian there. They're just average citizens, but they had that quality of Americanism. They're going to be very polite and they're going to be very nice in the 6th hour, but they're not going to back down 1 inch. They're not going to back down 1 inch, and therefore you are caught. Same thing's happening in Michigan. Get terrorized by Stabler, the scumbag crook from Bear Stearns, stealing money with both hands, right? But no, he's self-righteous. After helping destroy the black middle class and crushing them and taking away all their equity in their homes, and the Bear Stearns scam, he's Mr. Ned Black Lives Matter Stabel, right? After coming with a family, all working with the Klan back in the 1920s in Ann Arbor, right? You scumbag, and your whole family's a group of Democratic racist scumbags, right, brother? Now, with the virtue signaling, and he's going after Lindsey Graham, give me a break. Talk about how much money you and your firm stole. How many black families did you destroy? How many homes were taken away? How much of their net worth was wiped out? Cube sits there and makes a very prominent thing. Hey, the wealth gap between black Americans and white is increasing and increased during the Obama administration. You know why it increased during the Obama administration? They had to bail out. The Federal Reserve had to step in and bail out because of scumbags like you at Bear Stearns. You're a crook and you're a scumbag. If you want to sue me, bring it, dude, because I want to do all the discovery. We're going to go back and look at all your records, the part of your history that went down the memory hole, right? Jack Maxey. Jack Maxey's on a case. We know about your family, about the scumbag family, racist family, Democrat racist. I come from the South. I've seen the Democratic Party, what it was like, right? You're a scumbag, and now you're virtue signaling. Well, it's not going to work, and it's certainly not going to work in the war room. Raheem Gassan, let's talk about math. I'll get off personality for a minute. Let's talk about math.
All right, dear listener, Raheem, take me down.
Just don't sue me or whatever.
No, I want discovery. This is why they want to. This is why Dominion. They're saying, "Oh, Dominion, Dana Perino, the mouthpiece."
Just don't sue me.
Let me back this up, dear listener. You got to hear this. All right, Raheem, let's talk about numbers. I'm talking about personality. All right, take me off the ledge, Raheem Kassan. Take me off the ledge. Here we go.
Raheem Gassan, let's talk about math. I'll get off personality for a minute. Let's talk about math.
Just don't sue me or whatever.
No, I want discovery. This is why they want to sue. This is why Dominion. They're saying, "Oh, Dominion." Dana Perino, the mouthpiece of Bush and sending kids to Iraq and Afghanistan to be killed, sitting there with all the lies she told for so many years, nothing but a bald-faced liar. And she's sitting there saying the company ought to sue Sydney. Thing. This shows your IQ is room temp, baby. They're not going to sue her. Do you think they want discovery? You think Dominion's going to sue anybody? You think they want discovery? You know what discovery is? We get down into the details of their criminality. They're not going to sue. Oh, they ought to sue her. This is what Fox has turned into. That's signal, not noise. Okay? And for everybody at home, oh, Fox has abandoned me. Grow up. It's a business. Okay, they made a business decision. Sorry they're not there to pat you on the head anymore. You don't need a pat. Take the pacifier out. Take off your duck feet pajamas. Grow up. Oh, Fox is so bad. It's so turned. I can't go. Well, get it off the dial and turn to somebody else. Or you know what? Get a book and read a book. Go online and find it yourself. Frank Mear's finding it. Frank Mear doesn't need to live on Fox. He's not sitting there, tears coming down his eyes. Fox has changed. Fox has changed. I'm so sick of that. We're in a war. Was people man up right now? Come on. I'm gonna start playing. I'm gonna play 12 o'clock high. I'm gonna play that scene from 12 o'clock high. You're all dead. Get over it. Once you embrace that, we're gonna make some progress. Okay, we're gonna take a short break. We're gonna get Boris.
And now we'll do the maths in the break.
We're gonna return in a moment.
All right, welcome back to HSP episode number 104. As I fix my damn webcam again.
Indeed, sir.
I'm about to go on a rant with this webcam.
Yeah.
Welcome back, dear listener. Before we go on, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Zero Gravity Med. You can find me on Twitter at Lucifer Skinner, LUKEFAHR. You can find Russ on Twitter for now at RussZGM. You can find everything that we do on our website, www.zero-gravity-media.com. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. I already said that, at Zero Gravity Med. Is that everything, Russ? Oh, yeah. And on, well, not the last couple of weeks, but normally SoundCloud, Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, and TuneIn. All under Zero Gravity Media. And you can also find the Shoe Bros there, too. Check them out.
Indeed. Yep. Our compatriots, indeed. Yeah. What did you think about that rant, Luke? What did you think?
I thought it was pretty funny, man. I mean, but I get it, though. You know, he's like, we're in a war right now. People need to man up a little bit. And I totally agree with that.
I do too. It is the closest to the correct message that we have right now, other than our message, right? But it's not helpful in the end, you know? But it's a little too ranty for me. I'm not a rant guy. You know what I mean? I love a Bannon rant. So let's just take it down, dear listener. Okay. By my count, he ranted about Joe Biden, Joe Scarborough, and Mika Brzezinski, Rudy Giuliani's hair mishap this week.
Yeah.
Fraud, yeah. Ned Staubel, Bear Stearns, BLM, the Democrat Party, Dana Perino, Fox News, and the Tucker Sidney.
Wait, hold on. Did you say Dana Perino on purpose?
Yeah.
Okay. I was about to say, it's actually Dana Perino. Oh wait, yeah. I get it. That's hilarious, Dana Perino.
Yeah. And all of that in 6 minutes, dear listener. There is nothing like a Steve Bannon rant other than a Luke rant or a Russ rant. There's nothing.
I personally like the Russ rant.
Ah, well, thank you.
When Russ accuses my favorite moment is when Russ accuses someone of being a son of a bitch. That's my favorite. You son of a bitch.
If not for our message of unity this week, Luke, I would almost call Tucker that right now. Almost, not quite, but almost. I'm madder than hell at Tucker. I am. Okay. I am. Then that's it. And I am Tucker. You are the chosen one, Tucker. You are the chosen one. And oh my God. Let me calm down, man. Let me take a sip of water here. Yeah. Tucker, I was your greatest fanboy, and man, you're in the shit house right now. That's it. So
well, what else we got? Did you this is something I wanted to talk about, and I mean, did you want to move on from that? Are you good to move on?
Yeah.
This is something that, like, maybe I only know about because I get European news mostly. Have you heard about Macron?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
What have you heard about it?
I based in red pill is what I've heard, man.
Yeah, dude, totally.
Yeah, it's in reaction to all of these, religion of peace strikes again attacks happening in his country, and he suddenly has found a pair and is responding in kind to it. Yeah. Based in red pill. Yeah.
I've got an article here. So, I mean, of course, we have to mention this because the only thing that's ever happened in the last 9 months is Corona and the election, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure dear listeners probably out of the loop. So if you're not already aware, there were a couple disgruntled citizens of the world who beheaded somebody for showing some cartoons, and in a classroom, and then there were a couple of attacks after that. So basically, Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, has asked Muslim. I'm reading a BBC article. Has asked Muslim leaders to agree on a charter of Republican values as part of a broad clampdown on, radical. I'll say disgruntled citizens of the world.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, he gave the French Council of the Muslim Faith, CFCM, 15 days to work with the Interior Ministry. The CFCM has agreed to create a national council of imams, which will reportedly issue imams with official accreditation, which could be withdrawn. I think that's hilarious. It's like official accreditation. It's like, you're not too radical, are you?
Exactly.
That's how you get accredited. Don't be too radical.
Exactly.
It follows 3 suspected Islamist attacks in little more than a month. The charter will state that Islam is a religion and not a political movement, while also prohibiting, quote, foreign interference, end quote, in Muslim groups. Mr. Macron has strongly defended French secularism in the wake of the attacks, which included the beheading of a teacher who showed cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad during a class discussion last month. Late on Wednesday, the president and his interior minister, Gerald, Jessica always makes fun of me with because she speaks French, is like one of the many languages she speaks. But earlier this week, I was saying Macron, and she's like, "It's Macron," and Macron. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know if you remember. There was a there was like a little sort of on oh God, what streets was it? It was Leavenworth. And something, but there was
up there on
there was like a nice little grocery store up there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was called the Les Petits Marchés.
Yeah, that's right.
And every time I would pass by it, I would say to myself, Les Petits Marchés. I would say that like in my head every time I walked by it.
Yeah,
look, I've got my
there. I hope they're still there. Yeah, I just hope they survived the pandemic. That's all. So
yeah, dude, I love that place, man. I bought my meat from there.
Yeah.
I went in there one time asking what I like if he could get me anything. He was like, "Yeah." So I ordered a cow's head because I wanted to make.
You told me that. I'd forgotten.
Yeah,
because
I wanted to make like authentic barbacoa, banana leaf wrapped smoked barbacoa, and I got a lot of weird looks walking home with a cow's head in a plastic bag through the middle of San Francisco. Almost the time because I had wood back there and I had a smoker, and I lived like right in the middle of this like densely packed neighborhood, and I had this balcony. No, not a balcony, but a patio. It was a sick ass patio.
Yeah, it was.
And I had a smoker back there, which I'm sure my neighbors loved. And because I mean, you take a Texan and like transplant him into the middle of San Francisco, he has no concept of what it means to annoy a neighbor, and so. I had a full-on smoker out there, and I was on the ground floor. There's like multiple floors above me and all around me everywhere. And I'm back there like smoking barbacoa and like beer can chickens and all sorts of stuff. And so I had to chop wood. So I bought an axe, and you'd never think like walking down the street with an axe is like a weird thing until you're doing it like in the middle of San Francisco. So there's like business people walking around, like girls in yoga pants, going to yoga class and this and that. And I'm just walking down the street with an axe, and people are just, I'm like, I don't know. It's really weird. Like you wouldn't normally think that that's like a weird thing, but I don't know. Given a certain context, I guess it is. Going on, 2 principles which will be inscribed in black and white in the charter: the rejection of political Islam and any foreign interference. One source told the Le Parisien newspaper after the meeting. In addition, restrictions on homeschooling and harsher punishments for those who intimidate public officials on religious grounds, giving children an identification number in the law that would be used to ensure they're attending school. Parents who break the law could face up to 6 months as jail as well as large fines. And a ban, and these things I'm kind of I think there's better ways to go about this, which also protects individual rights and liberty. But a ban on sharing the personal information of a person in a way that allows them to be located by people who want to harm them. So basically based in red-pilled Macron. Long story short, but he also said, he received a lot of negative feedback from American media, and he said he was so shocked and surprised at how unwilling American media is to get behind something so reasonable as Western values. And he cited the French Enlightenment and stuff, basically exactly what he should be saying, and exactly what I wish our politicians were saying. And I cannot believe I'm saying this about Macron right now.
No, I know.
Jesus, what a time, dude! What world are we living in where I'm praising Macron?
Dude, we've shifted timelines. I don't know. It's reality is stranger than fiction right now. So there we have it. So yeah, because I mean, dear listener, Luke and I have bitched about numerous times, right? In the Yellow Vest protests. Do you remember those back in the 60s? When Luke and I were talking about the Yellow Vests, right? And repudiation of the Yellow Vests. And now, man, you're right. Based in red pilled, extolling Western values. Is he the leader of the Western world right now, Luke? Is he?
Macron?
Yeah.
No.
Who is? Donald Trump? Donald Trump is.
Donald Trump. Yeah.
Well, he is extolling Western values, and for that, I give him infinite praise. So, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Makes me want to go down and get me a couple of crepes.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Fry some frog legs, all that, man.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. Hashtag me too. So, yeah.
What are you laughing about, man?
Oh, just farting off the frogs. That's all. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of whom there are numerous in our audience. Dear listener, if you are a Pierre in France listening to us right now, we don't mean you, okay? We don't mean you. We do mean your fellow Muslim countrymen, but hey, but sorry, man. No. We mean for the integrity of Western civilization. Truly, that's what we mean. And thank you for listening in France. Thank you. So, all right. What you hear about Kyle Rittenhouse?
Oh yeah, he got bailed out this week by an actor and then the CEO of MyPillow.
Yeah, Ricky Schroeder, and Mike Lindell.
I don't even know who's Ricky Schroeder. I don't even know who he is.
He was an actor back in the 80s, way back in the day, and he apparently has been a closet conservative. But I don't even really think that's true. The fact is, dear listener, Kyle Rittenhouse should not be in jail. He should not be in jail. Okay. He should be released on bail. It was also not just Mike Lindell and Ricky Schroeder. It was a crowdfunding that's been going on since when was he arrested? August 23rd. Yeah.
Something like that.
$2 million bail. Dear listener, $2 million bail. Right. And it was finally raised this week. And Lynn Wood, his attorney, has been out talking about it. And it's a great week for America, man. I mean, because, dear listener, Kyle Rittenhouse did nothing wrong. I'm sorry. He didn't. And I don't care about local gun laws and all of that kind of shit. I don't care. He defended his life quite literally and took a couple commies down, Antifas down in the process. My applause, Kyle Rittenhouse. My applause. So, yeah. But no, dear listener, he did not attack anybody. He just defended himself. And Linwood is quite correct. The video proves it. It entirely proves it. And so there we are. And he's out of jail. That's great, man. He's going to be at home for Thanksgiving with his mom, who's been on Tucker.
Probably got a free MyPillow.
Probably. Dear listener, go buy a MyPillow this week. All right, buy a MyPillow. Okay, buy the mattress topper. Okay, buy the MyPillow mattress. Just contribute to MyPillow. Buy from them. Okay, so I have two
open.
MyPillows. Yeah,
it is a open cell polyfoam pillow design.
Yeah, it is. I have two, Luke. I love it. Yeah, I do. I have two.
Are they hard or soft pillows?
They require some breaking in. I would not call them hard, but it's not like a smartphone. It's not like that, right? Like you got to work on your My Pillow a little bit, right? And then your My Pillow gets you, right? And hugs your neck. And so I sleep on two My Pillows. I sleep on one and throw the other over my head at night. And that's the best My Pillow is the one on top of my head. It just covers your head perfectly, allows you breathing space. It's fantastic, man.
Interesting. I'm gonna look into it. Like their website pulled up here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I need a hard pillow. I need I like hard pillow. I'm a hard pillow person. I don't like soft pillows. I need some support.
Yeah. My Pillow will provide that for you, bro. I promise you. Yeah.
All right. Do they sell them in life-size 3D waifu pillows?
Yes, they do have body pillows.
Do they really?
Yes, they do.
Will they print your custom-made 3D waifu directly onto the pillow?
Not yet, but we should suggest that to them and profit. So yes, sir. Yeah.
That's hilarious, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've got a couple of other topics. I don't know if we want to get into it. We're up at hour and 41. They're light topics like history, philosophy, why everyone hates the Jews, just light stuff.
Let me throw one, and then I want to get into this because I've been curious as to your thoughts. You messaged me last night, and I want to know, dear listener. It looks like Trump, according to the narrative, on the way out of the White House, oh my God, is going to sign an executive order refusing birthright citizenship. Now, will that be undone by Biden? Of course it will. Okay, but it looks like that is happening. I have a Hill piece pulled up about it. We don't need to get into it. But Luke, I kind of more am interested in, you said that you have been thinking about basically assimilating history, politics, philosophy. Bring it, if you don't mind. Bring it, please.
Yeah. I mean, I've just been, I've studied a lot of philosophy. I think I have a pretty strong command on the subject. And I've been studying a lot of now lately, as of the last several months, like a ton of history. I've listened to, I don't even know, like 40, 50, 60 hours of lectures on like just Rome and Greece. In the last, God, even more than that. I don't even know how many, probably 100 hours in the last like 4 to 6 months on Rome and Greece. And now I'm like working my way through, and these are like real lectures. This isn't like, oh, I'm going to watch a YouTube video on ancient Rome. It's like, these are great course lectures, like real, like the best professors you can find.
We have the best professors, only the best professors. Anyways.
We have the best lectures. Yeah.
Yes.
So like, yeah, I mean, I've been wondering, so like the alt-right, they went down this path, like they used to be libertarians, and then they went down this path of everything that's wrong with the world is Jews and Judaism and all of this. And, of course you've got like the whole Nazi movement. And then, the Jews have been kicked out of countries for, various countries. I don't even know how many countries have been kicked out of, Russ. Like they've been kicked out. They're kicked out. Yeah. They've been kicked out of America, even right after America was founded.
Yeah.
So it's, and so it's just been this like question, which has evaded me. I mean, it's not as if it's like, oh, everything. I mean, I knew better than to think that. I always thought that was retarded, but like, I still was trying to figure out, like, what is it? What is it? Like, why do they like consistently find themselves on the side of persecution, hatred, discrimination, and anti-Semitism? And what is it about it? So I was both reading and I was also listening to these lectures, and I kind of had an epiphany this week. So, you've got your ancient religions, you've got, paganism, obviously, you've got your Greek and your Roman religions, but you even have religions which came before that as well, which, would have been antiquity. But you know,
Yeah.
once you
Hinduism, Zoroastrianism. Yes.
yeah, yeah. But even before that, you know, like the religion, you know, religion has always generally served a role to provide some sort of answers about metaphysics, about things which we don't have answers, which at the time they didn't have answers for. Why does it rain? What is the sun? What are the stars? And these are things that they were trying to figure out. Um, and so, you know, Judaism came into existence during the time of Greek and Roman religions, right?
Mhm.
And they came, you know, it came into existence about 200 years before Aristotle. And Aristotle was the first moral philosopher. Okay, so like prior to Aristotle, I mean, you could argue Plato, you could even argue Socrates, but like most certainly the pre-Socratics didn't really have any sort of moral code by which one should live.
Right.
And all the moral codes before then were just commandment form. You know, like you think of like the Hammurabi Code, which is, you know, and all the codes of the little city states back in antiquity was just do this, don't do that. And they would have 100 rules. They'd be written down everywhere. And that's all it was. And this is
a little bit of context. These tended to be Babylonian. Hammurabi is Babylonian.
Right.
Am I right about that? He is Babylonian, right? Yeah, he is. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not quite, I can't say it for sure, but I believe you're right.
All right.
But yeah, so anyways, like they didn't have any moral code. They had they were not that sophisticated yet philosophically. And Judaism came into existence prior to the advent of the subject of morality, which Aristotle had the most to say about among the three, if you ask me, him, Plato, and Socrates. So Judaism had no philosophy around morality upon its foundation. And a lot of people have they've tried to twist things around like the 10 Commandments being like a moral code, but that's nonsense. Like, you know, the first commandment, like thou shalt put no God before me, no other God before me. Notice that it's no other God. They say that specifically because it existed in a time of polytheism. So it's not that I'm the only one. It's that there are many, just don't put them all before me. Right. So you can see how the 10 Commandments was formed, like during a time when you didn't really have morality. It was just sort of like 10, sort of a patchwork of like, do this and don't do that, which is not unique at all. So, you know, and the other commandments they're reminiscent of laws of that era as well. And that was, you know, this was everywhere in the ancient world. They didn't have theories of natural rights, and they didn't have a philosophical understanding of the nature of property. And they didn't have anything to say on that. It was just a patchwork of commandments. And so too, Judaism had that as well. So what they shared with the ancient religions of Greece and Rome was just an absence of morality. And I would assert that, like, when you have an absence of morality and you're living in a world in which in which morality as a subject hasn't been founded, just our nature, just as a biological organism, our tendency is to turn in on the self, to act, and you are required to for continued survival. You have to eat, you have to drink, you have to build a house, you have to figure out where to live, you have to make sure you don't succumb to the elements, you have to pursue values, and this is all natural to us as a biological organism, and I would even say as a species. And what's interesting is, like, I have a theory, and I should read more about this, and I don't know this to be true, but I have a theory that they took that and then abstracted that to the group, because they didn't, unlike Christianity and Islam. Christianity and Islam have an explicit morality. It's not explicit. I mean, you can kind of take what you want out of the Bible, but they had something to say about morality. It wasn't just a patchwork of commandments. So, you know, they came much later, much longer after Aristotle, and therefore uniquely they have their own moralities, unlike Judaism. That is what everyone is like, oh, it's based upon Judeo-Christian ethics. Well, those ethics came much later. Those are not like OG Judaism. Judaism didn't have a morality in the very beginning. And I think this created a culture among themselves. We're the Jews and we have to act in our own interest and for ourselves. And I think that is a culture which stems from not having explicit morality, which Christianity and Islam actually do have. And I think that therefore they could not understand because Christianity and Islam it's all about conquest, and Allah, Christianity is all about sacrifice, help your fellow man, turn the other cheek, this sort of morality. They had something to say on this sort of things. And the Jews were like, we're just Jews and we're acting in our own interest because that's what we do as human beings. And I think that is because they never started out with a moral code. They never had anything to say on that. Maybe they picked up things along the way, but back then that's what it was. So they became ostracized as a result. And when you become ostracized in society, like in Germany, for example, they weren't allowed to join the trade guilds, like in the Dark Ages. They weren't allowed to be, stonemasons. They weren't allowed to do anything like that. So they became merchants. They became bankers. They loaned money and they charged usury. And Christians couldn't understand how you could possibly charge usury. That's evil. If somebody needs money, you just help them and then they'll help you in the future. And then the Jews are like, well, no, why in the hell would I do that? You're paying the interest and I'm going to make money off of this. And it created this very insidious relationship between them and everybody else. And I think that has percolated all the way through to today. And I think that the starting point from that was that Judaism came into an existence in a time in which there was no moral code yet founded. What are your thoughts on that? Yay, nay?
I need to consider that. I think it's a strong theory. And I don't want to be alt-right about it, Luke. I really don't. But I think it's a very strong theory, because there is something curious about Judaism and Hinduism, to be fair. They are religions that have survived millennia, right? And yes, Christianity has as well, right? But Christianity, if listen, I consider myself a Christian, right? But Christianity was a hack of Judaism. Okay. What
do you mean? Clarify that. I don't know what you mean by that.
It was establishment of a moral code. And I'm talking in the most abstract of terms, dear listener. I think Jesus Christ saved the world. Okay. All right. That's my belief. Okay. Luke does not. That's cool. That's cool. But it changed Judaism. It was the fulfillment of what Judaism created. Okay. But it hacked the religion. It did. And what Christianity brought along, so Judaism had, God, dude, even some of the Judaism was much more of a cultural phenomenon than anything else. They didn't really have, in the beginning, much to say on philosophy. They didn't really have anything for metaphysics. Yeah.
They had no epistemological stance. They had no moral stance. They had no political stance. Christianity still to this day does not have a political stance, unless you want to consider liberation theology, which we could get into.
Been thinking a lot about that lately. So,
have you?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Huh. Okay, I want to get into that then. But they certainly have an aesthetic stance. But all of that mostly came from Christianity. So if you want to talk about Judeo-Christian ethics, in my opinion, we're talking about ethics which were primarily formed either distinctly under Christianity or in concert with. I could be wrong on that. I'm not an expert on Judaism. I'm not an expert on Christianity. I know a little bit about both, but this is just a question which has been burning in my mind, is where does all the anti-Semitism come from? And I think that, and I think also, I think, so that's one part. I think the other part is that they, oftentimes Jews are accused of going into the intellectual pursuits, and the intellectual pursuits is where you can really move boulders, right? Media, finance, this sort of thing. Again, going back to the Dark Ages, they weren't allowed to join guilds. They couldn't be stonemasons. They couldn't integrate into society. They had to fill all of the gaps. And where do you fill the gaps in a society which is based upon physical labor? Well, you have to do it with the brain. Well, then it's with your brain that you move boulders. They're moving rocks and they're moving, and then Jews are moving boulders. And it still stands to this day. So they have a very strong in their culture, that embedded in their culture is a strong tendency towards intellectual pursuits. And it's those pursuits which again move boulders, which make the difference. They're not out there digging ditches; they're out there writing books.
Yeah.
So
it is provable that Jews are higher on the intellectual scale than any other ethnic group in any other category of people, right? They're at about 120, dear listener. White people are at about 100, and I'll just leave it there, right? But they're at about 120. You know what I mean? And Luke, there is also this. You and I both listened to the alt-right stuff back in the day because we just kind of wanted to follow it. It defied my understanding of Jewish people because every single Jewish person, to a person I have ever met, was the epitome of kindness, moral character, and intellect. And I don't want to virtue signal about it. That's just my experience. So
it's your lived experience.
Yeah, right. So yeah. I don't understand the anti-Semitism either, but it is ubiquitous. And the Jewish belief about this, and I can attest to this, is that they believe that they truly believe that they are God's people and therefore they are persecuted. Okay. Not sure I agree with that. But they truly do and are convicted of that. And you know what? That's fine. Maybe it's true. I don't know. I could not attest either way. So,
yeah, it's an interesting question. It's something I've been thinking about all week. That's for sure.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it for years now. And
what do you?
Go ahead.
I was going to ask you, what have you been thinking about this liberation theology?
Oh, let's get into it next show. I've been thinking about liberation theology and prosperity gospel, both, and kind of juxtaposing them to each other.
Where did this come from?
Do you want to know the truth about this?
Yeah.
You want to know the truth? John red pilled me about, Native American pilled me about Paula White, who is an evangelist who speaks on behalf of the president. And man, she does some crazy shit. And so I've been looking into her, Robert Tilton, numerous other televangelists, and just kind of thinking about all this. That's all. And
are you Protestant now, Russ?
I've always been Protestant, bro. Always. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. You always have been Protestant. Are you do you follow like TV preachers? And are you into that thing? Are you into that sort of thing?
I used to be, man. When Robert Tilton was on the air back in the day, I used to watch it, but only for entertainment value. I mean, I didn't go speak in tongues at the TV and lay hands on the TV and all this kind of stuff. I just loved it. It was
so to you, it was like watching WWE sort of a thing.
It came on right after WWE, as a matter of fact.
So, that's hilarious, dude. Oh my God.
Yeah, I loved it, man. I loved it. And yeah.
I love when when we're in the States. I remember we were driving around and we were driving around Texas. I was flipping through the radio stations. And you know how they have Jessica and I, we call it God Yak Radio, which is like where they have these radio stations where they just talk about God and whatnot, and they're just like, and today I'd like to read you a passage from, John 3:16 or whatever. Yeah. And so I stopped on one of these. I don't know why. It was just, I just happened to have stopped on one of these. And Jessica was like, what is this? And I was like, it's like, they talk about religion, and she's like, they do this on the radio. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, there's like multiple stations. And she was like, it was just like, her mind was like exploded.
Yeah.
Because they do not do that here in Europe. And she's like, I don't even think that'd be legal in Europe.
Yeah.
And it was just hilarious. So now, like when we're driving around and when we go back and I'm driving around in Texas and I come across one of those radio stations, I'll leave it just so she's like, turn the channel, it's like, just because she considers herself like, Catholic, or we don't go to church, but like, but she, she goes to Christmas mass and stuff like this. And
sure.
It's a cultural thing. I mean, here's the thing about Europe. It's like people are very like quote unquote religious here, but it's much more of a socio-cultural institution. It's not
A-
like America where
Yeah.
people are like, read the Bible every night and like, say like when I came here, I was shocked that they didn't pray before the meal.
Mm.
It was like they just sit down and eat and just start eating. And I was like, okay, I guess we're eating now.
Yeah.
So it's not like, it's not like it's just way different here. And when she came back to the States, I don't remember, we were eating something and like everyone stood around and said a prayer and she was like, this is so weird.
Mm.
So it's like people are quote unquote religious in a sense, but it's much more of a socio-cultural phenomenon, not like a religious phenomenon,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the same phenomenon applies to Judaism, right? It's a cultural phenomenon as well as it is ethnic, religious, all of that, right? I think it applies the same way to Judaism to tie it
Yeah.
all up. So
Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
like Christmas is much the same. Christmas here, they don't have Santa, they don't have reindeer, they don't have any of that. It's very much a religious holiday.
Mm.
Which is why I love triggering like all my neighbors and my mother-in-law and stuff because they don't like colored lights. Because
Yeah.
colored lights is like a secular like you use white lights. Okay, because the
Yeah.
church uses white lights and like color is introducing it like all these games and funness into it. And
Yeah.
so I put like Santa Claus is up and colored lights and I'll trigger all my neighbors because I'm like, it's like blasphemy. I told Jessica today I was decorating outside. I was putting our lights up today. And I told Jessica, I was like, so is this like the Christian equivalent of drawing Muhammad as I'm like hanging my colored Christmas lights? And she was like, in a way, yeah.
And dear listener, by the way, you should see Luke's studio right now. It is Christmas comfy. It is Christmas comfy. So,
Oh, dude, it is ridiculously comfy. Jessica wraps all these little individual presents for me. See, like this, candles and lotion and soap and stuff. And that's my advent calendar. So I get to unwrap one present per day until Christmas.
Nice, bro. Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. And I've got like lights everywhere. And yeah, dude, it is maximum comfy. I've got my Snuggie on. I showed you earlier. I've got my moose mug with my homemade eggnog. It is like max comfy right now.
Indeed, sir. Indeed. Yeah.
But no, that was all I had for this week. I don't know if I mentioned this, but Jessica her test came back negative.
I meant to ask first thing. I'm glad. I'm so glad. Good, man. Yeah,
So,
that's good.
Oh, there was something before we go. There was something else I wanted to say at the Christmas. So we have these damn things hanging in the hallway. We put these like, what are they called? Like they look like a evergreen tree branch, but they're fake and they're like have a metal wire through the middle and you can like wrap them around a stair railing.
Yeah,
sort of a thing.
Garlands.
Something like that.
Okay.
We have like a few of those and we hang them like so across the top of the doorway and then it goes down. And then Jessica puts lights and Christmas balls and stuff in there. And she also puts bells in there. And I'm one of these people, I just bump into everything. I don't know. I'm a little bit broad-shouldered and like I just bump into everything. I'm a little bit of a bull in a china shop sort of a thing.
Me too. It's funny. Hashtag me too. Yeah.
So it's like a damn alarm system. When I'm trying to like go to the kitchen at midnight and eat something, or I'm at my computer staying up till 1 a.m. and then I'm like, oh, I need to go make a sandwich. It's like, I'm walking out, I'm brushing up against it. It's like, and then like a ball hits the floor and I'm like, oh, God damn it. And like, it's like an alarm system if I'm staying up late and Jessica's like knows where I'm going and what I'm doing,
Indeed. Yeah, I know. I know that feel. Feel. It's a trap. It's a trap, bro. She said a trap.
I know, dude. It's a monitoring system. That's what it is. I'm being watched.
Indeed.
Through Christmas bells.
Yeah, indeed. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, you want to call it here?
Yeah, let's do it, bro. Can you run us through my socials real quick?
Absolutely. Well, I can try. All right. So Russ and I have been having some difficulties with producing the show in this live stream format. We want to continue doing the live stream format, but we also recognize the value that a lot of people get out of the audio only format, which is the original format of the show. And that's a format which we would not, for which we would not like to depart, from which we would not like to depart. So we have been trying to figure out a workflow for the last couple of weeks. We think we have a workflow now. So hopefully we're going to probably end up posting like 3 or 4, like 100 through this show, which is 104.
For
probably, Yeah, I'll probably schedule them so they'll go out like one day after the next for the next 4 days. So
Good.
expect a bunch of shows getting posted. Yeah.
And dear listener, listen, we hear you. We know you love the podcast. We love the podcast. We love the podcast most of all, right? But Luke and I had to take this step, and we just kind of did it randomly for episode 100, and here we are now. And we need to keep doing this, and please bear with us as we go through this change, right? It's what is
we're transitioning right now.
Yeah, we're yes.
So what it must feel like to transition.
It must.
Maybe we need to start taking estrogen pills to make the live streaming workflow easier.
Oh man, I could use an estrogen pill right now. So yeah. Kidding. Anyways. So it's going to be a change, dear listener, but we'll get through it together. Okay. Unified. We're together. Okay.
Stronger together.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, before we head out of here, follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Zero Gravity Med. You can find us on. You can find me on Twitter at Lucifer Skinner. You can find Russ on Twitter at RussZGM for now. You can find everything that we do, including the Shoe Bros as well. www.zero-gravity-media.com.
You got Shoe Bros.
And indeed. And you can find our audio soon, coming this week on. I love it's like 2.5 years later. We're like coming soon, audio. Even though we started out audio for 2 years, 2.5 years, I should say. But our audio is on SoundCloud, Podbean, TuneIn, Stitcher, and did I say SoundCloud already?
No, but that's it. You got it.
All right. All right.
All right, dear listener, we have made it all the way down this 104-mile trek. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it as much as Luke and I did. We always have a good time, stronger together. Dear listeners, stronger together. We're going to build a fire. We're going to set up camp, and we're going to pass around a bottle, make some food, and enjoy each other's company. You heard? And Luke and I will be back at you before you know it, on time and under budget next week for number 105. Set your watch to it, and you believe that. And meanwhile, Luke, you take care of yourself. Let's be in touch, brother.
Likewise, brother.
All right.
All right. Peace.
Like.